NBC7's Nightly Check-In is sponsored by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Flood and Restoration.
We know how.
There is a lot of anger and frustration for business owners bracing for the worst, with San Diego on the brink of possibly tighter COVID restrictions. Thanks for joining us for the Nightly Check-In. I'm Catherine Garcia. So local small business owners held a rally today to call on the county to fight on their behalf and reject the current state monitoring system.
We need to establish some sort of criterion to live with this virus at this point. We don't just keep getting to avoid it and playing whack-a-mole with businesses. It's not fair to our livelihood. I mean, the stress it's intense. You know, when you're a business owner, you have a lot.
That is the feeling from the owner of a personal care services business called Lash Lift. She says her business has dropped 40%. She was part of this afternoon's rally supported by Supervisor Jim Desmond. Business owners want the county to establish their own reopening plans and reject Governor Newsom's monitoring system. In response, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher also had his own news conference today with doctors and pandemic experts. They had a message of their own. They said the enemy is not the government, it's the virus.
We cannot be successful in this battle if we are fighting each other, but must recognize the real enemy, the virus.
The enemy is not the government. The enemy is not public health department. The enemy is the virus, and the virus is still here. We still need the community to support us in trying to fight and battle this virus in order to prevent further spread.
Now, there is still an outside chance the county could stay in the less restrictive red tier. We find out in the state's weekly report card that comes out tomorrow. Supervisor Fletcher, meanwhile, says his colleagues Catherine Garcia and Jim Desmond are playing politics, and he says it's affecting the county's response to the coronavirus.
In particular, Supervisors Jim Desmond and Catherine Garcia are inciting a fight between government and small business. They are exploiting the pain and suffering that small businesses are going through as a result of a global pandemic as a wedge for political gain.
Supervisor Fletcher thinks the county reopened high-risk areas too soon, and now that cases are rising, he says his colleagues are trying to blame the governor, San Diego State University, and the new metric system. Supervisor Desmond said he believes that color-coded tier system is flawed. He was again rallying against it this afternoon. Meanwhile, Supervisor Garcia sent us a statement that reads in part, this morning, Supervisor Fletcher held a hellfire and brimstone press conference in which he ironically and incorrectly blamed me for playing politics with COVID. I have never supported any approach to reopening that was not specifically supported by our public health officer and clinical leadership team. Millions of out-of-work Californians are facing a big roadblock. No new unemployment claims will be accepted for the next 2 weeks as the EDD tries to clear an existing backlog. Newly laid-off employees would not be able to file for unemployment until October 5th. The EDD says it is working to prevent fraud and reduce that major backlog of nearly 600,000 people who have not yet received a check in more than 3 weeks.
Just knowing that that extra money is just something that I paid into and should be available to me and make life a little bit easier for us, paying the mortgage.
During the pause, EDD says it will implement the following changes: a new identity verification tool, which will help prevent fraud, redirect EDD staff to make sure claims are processed more quickly, further expand the capability of the new document upload features for mobile users, and allow for the ability to file military and federal employee claims online. So pretty pleasant today, but warmer this week. We're going to check in with Dagmar for your forecast after a quick break.
NBC7's Nightly Check-In is sponsored by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Flood and Restoration.
Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE. Bill Howe. We know how.
Bill Howe is a family-run company that is as diverse as their services, promotes employees from within, and gives back generously to the San Diego community.
I am Bill Howe.
I am Bill Howe.
We are Bill Howe.
We are Bill Howe.
Because we know how.
For your Tuesday, September 22nd, we're still looking at some very comfortable September weather. So we did enter a period of cool down starting really Saturday, but you felt it mostly Sunday through Monday and then Tuesday. So this continues. That'll leave your temperatures in the coastal zones right around that mid-70 mark. A few clouds on and off that'll linger through the day, so the marine layer is back. Seeing the inland valleys at about the low to the mid-80s. Mountains, you're in the low 80s. That's way more comfortable than where you were. And the deserts also ending up seeing about the 104, 105 mark. So fairly comfortable weather for your Tuesday. Enjoy this one.
It's been a long drought for Padres fans, but for the first time since 2006, the Friars are playoff bound.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. For the first time in 14 years, the San Diego Padres have clinched their spot in the postseason.
The Padres' 7-4 win over the Seattle Mariners in extra innings featured a 3-run bomb by Will Myers. Although fans could not be at the ballpark physically to watch the history-clinching game, Fernando Tatis knew they were there in spirit.
I just feel so happy for the city of San Diego. I know it's been so many years since they went to the playoff, and bringing playoff baseball to San Diego back, I just get emotional. You know, and I've seen all those fans out there cheer for us, and I mean, this is all for them.
Well, yesterday's win secures at least a National League wild card spot, but there's still work to be done. They have a chance to lock up the 4th seed in the NL playoffs, which means they'll get to host the first round best-of-3 series. While the Padres have made good use of Petco Park, they'll have to share it with golfers because the links are back. Starting November 5th, golfers can enjoy a 9-hole golf course for $85 a round. Padres season ticket holders get first dibs with a pre-sale starting today, 8 in the morning. Non-ticket holders can book tee time starting on Wednesday. There will be temperature checks and masks are required. We have all the information for you at NBC7.com. That's going to do it for our nightly check-in. Before we say goodnight, make sure to check out a new episode of our Scene in San Diego podcast. In the latest episode, the team dives into how local fishermen are teaming up to survive the pandemic. Have a great night.